Kevin, welcome. It's going excellent, man. How's your day going? Unfortunately, I set my mic down, my good mic, and I'm stuck with the less good mic right now. Kind of a blower because I get frazzled when I'm about to start, trying to make sure I got everything in place, and it doesn't always work like that, as you can imagine. We got Pelado, and we got Daniel. Daniel, long time member. Look at that gold star, man. Pelado. What do I think I'm doing? Well, right now I'm taking this this squared off or rounded off raccoon piece of raccoon leather and just conditioning it because it's in the drying process. So thank you for asking, Pelado. And re-moisturizing it so it dries a little slow. I've been keeping them inside. I got them rolled up. Now AI and all this other stuff tells me don't round off the hides, but the best way I can store them, the neatest way and the most practical way to store them for me is to round them off and roll them up. But this is a technique to roll in from the corners here just to keep the hides as supple as possible, or the piece of leather as supple as possible. Why don't I stream at like normal hours, like a lot of? Yeah, I mean, those are usually my hours of sleep, as it is for most Homo sapiens. Most of us are sleeping at that time. You wild folks and insomniacs and stuff, Yeah, I had one of each out here. I was about to have to go back in for gloves, and so I was like, well, I got one of each. Let's go with that. We're gonna make some antler buttons after I just do these chores here. I'm just rehydrating these two pieces of leather that I've finished during the drying process. This is squirrel right here. I'm just going to roll it in from the corners a little bit. With the grain side towards me. That is the shear side, right? The majority of Homo sapiens are awake when I stream. Maybe. Definitely, down in that neck of the woods, I mean, it's 3 hours different, so I get it. It's not late for you, unless it is. Sometimes you're up, it is like 3 a.m., so it's like 12 o'clock there. And I rolled it in, hopefully I rolled it in all the corners. I'm going to roll this corner. Let me zoom a little bit, just keep it like that, so y'all can see what's going on. Just conditioning these two pieces of leather that we finished. They both bark tan for about a month or so, maybe a little more. So veg tan, both are fairly thin pieces, but I think are going to come in real handy for my piece. It is always it's 3 p.m. somewhere. It's 3 a.m. stuff. This is a squirrel hide right here. I have heard that these are really good. They are thin, but the color and the texture are really cool. These are to be finished yesterday. I have another one that's ready to be rounded off, but I gotta think about whether I'm gonna round it off. Don't know yet. But that's what we did yesterday, just to update you on what's going on in Dad's Workshop. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. My name is Calvin. Do double tap that screen and make this video. I'm so proud of the work I've done so far, but let me show you a couple other things here. Boobity boop. Put those two pieces of leather. This is the first hide that I did right here. This probably could use some rounding off, but it's taking a little more conditioning because it's a bigger piece of leather. So this is the first deer hide I have that I'm working on a long form video about the experience and all of that. We have this, right? But I'm not gonna round this off today because I don't think it's ready yet and I don't wanna make any rash decisions. There are some spots where the grain is messed up, and let me make sure that this has value to it. You see right here where, you know, you see that pebble? This is a damaged grain right here. Hopefully you can see that. That's damaged grain, right? The grain is that skin, that membrane that's kind of sheer, that's below the hair. Where that's damaged, it doesn't benefit me to leave that on the hide, right? Here you see it as well. This hide's actually in pretty good shape. I have some other ones that are in tanning right now that are way more damaged than this. So you wanna make sure, like, I'm not gonna leave this thing fully intact because it doesn't benefit me to have defections on the hide, right? I want to make sure that whatever I have is free of defections, at least for me, because I'm going to be doing craft projects on these things. Here's some antler slices that I cut with the bandsaw. We're going to sand these real quick on the edges. I was trying to decide what size hole I wanted to drill in them, and kind of went with a smaller. I'm gonna go with the smaller one. I'll finish this one up with the larger holes, but they're pretty strong, man. They hold their strength pretty well. Somebody was talking about epoxy resin yesterday. I don't know why that's necessary. Let me make sure I got my Wi-Fi off because that will mess up my. Camera audio right now. Really. All right, it's not. I have my mic on, but let me try again. I had my camera I had my audio charged, my mic charged. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Can you hear that? Man, I had a good mic already, dude. This is the problem. Now I'm worried about technical crap. It's gonna throw everything. I can't sit here and worry about that. But it's gonna mess my numbers up, so whatever. Can you hear me right now? Mic check, 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 check. I like somewhere outside, unfortunately. This was the mic I used yesterday. Check, 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 check. Can you hear that? Can you hear that right now? Can you hear me right now? 23. What number did I say? 23. What number? Is it working? Okay, all right, good. It means at least works a little bit. So these antler pieces are really sharp. You want to make sure that you, if you're doing this, which I don't imagine all of you are going to do this, you know, but if you are taking antlers and turning them into buttons or using antlers in any way for crafts, make sure that you sand down these corners. They will cut the mess out of you really badly, actually. I've been cut by antler and bone recently. Oak Ridge Taxidermy, what's up, man? Trying to get that SRT connection. Nathan, welcome. I'm just kind of sanding down these edges here. I'll probably use beeswax on these to finish them off, just to polish them. Also, when we do the bone part, I want you to remember to save the little bone Save the little bone dust and put it in your plants and in your compost. It's very good high phosphorus fertilizer. So don't throw away bone or antler pieces uh, or dust. You see this little dust that forms? That stuff is high phosphorus fertilizer. And, during a plant's flowering phase, it uses a lot of phosphorus. So if you have a vegetable or flower garden, doesn't matter. Flowers are important to the production of fruit, etc. So keep that bone dust and just scatter it in your compost. Yes, it is essentially similar to gelatin. Yeah. All of these are not, if I could go back and do it, I would make them equal widths, right? Because they're not all equal in width. I'm probably only going to use one or two of these buttons on, like, if I'm doing an apron, it's going to be one or two of these on a pocket or something. But if you're doing like a buckskin jacket or something, or a bigger garment, you're probably going to use quite a few buttons. These seem like they make really good buttons. So that's why we're doing it. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. That's what we're doing today. Probably be easier if I just put this up in the vise rather than do it like this with my carpal tunnel syndrome going on. Welcome to member Pilato, member Oak Ridge Taxidermy, member Daniel Gandaris, most senior member in the room too. And we haven't seen anybody else today, right? Nathan, welcome as well. I'm glad you're here today. Pilato, Daniel, and Oak Ridge. That's my members in right now. How did I cut the antlers? Good question. I cut the antlers with my bandsaw. Make sure you wear a mask. I didn't want to mess up my handsaw on them, man. I only got that one handsaw. I got to order another one if I'm gonna mess those blades up. I got another bandsaw blade I can replace it with. I've already been using that bandsaw to cut bone, so. Yes, Idaho Cody, we are on the buttons. Looks like we froze a little. Yeah, actually, Mr. C55, I think it is a little bit like ivory. It does behave a little bit like ivory, man. You know, I've never, other than playing the piano my whole life, I've never really touched ivory. But it does seem to have that texture. Ivory is like, it's a keratinite, right? It's like a keratin type of substance, right? Antlers are tough. I don't know if he'll be in today, but Homemade by Ron, who was in here yesterday, makes a lot of beautiful antler handled knives like you do, Oak Ridge. So yeah, I really love the antler handles. I'm making sure I leave myself enough that if I need to, I can ship one off to like Ron or anybody, maybe even you, Oak Ridge, to have you forge me a knife or whatever with a. I'm also going to make this a special button here, this little tip. I'm thinking I might put some. I've seen them online like this with the edges, with the ends. Idaho Cody, I don't think it needs to be stabilized. These are real hard too. I gave them like a test, but when you're done, yeah. But that's a good question. Let me ask. Let's let Oak Ridge answer that question. They said though you got to dry them completely before they have this the toughness. I don't know if I need exact measurements, but let's get a ruler so I can get some close to exact measurements or some sort of measuring device. I don't want them too close to the edge either. Question was, Oak Ridge, do you stabilize your antler pieces before you use them? If you ever use them for buttons, I don't know if you ever have or any of that. But what he asked you was, do you stabilize them? Meaning, do you like soak them in resin or something? Here we go. I want them, I probably put these holes on these about 5 to 6 millimeters apart. Seems like about the right measurement there for me. Want them to have strength, don't not too close to the edge, and then not too close to each other. And they can be off center, I think, a little bit, and that's all right. More like, excuse me, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 millimeters. No, hold on here. It's 5 millimeters. Getting my imperial and all that mixed up. Deer antler pins. Daniel says he knows somebody who used to make the deer antler pins. Antlers are a mystery to the biologist. They don't understand how an animal can, like, there's no explanation for it in nature, how they can produce that much tissue. Let's try. I'm going to try one of these, and I may move the next one over. Sucks that I lost that other microphone, man. I was really like kind of banking on that. Then I'll finish the last two. This one has a little bit bigger holes than I would like. If you're using rawhide thread though, or like rawhide here, I think that this is a good hole size maybe. But for regular thread or like waxed linen, which I think you probably have to be careful with these, I can imagine them ripping that thread really easily. But we'll see. Think about right here. This board that I'm drilling on top of too is not that important to me. Old sassafras board. About right here. It feels loose. Where'd you put the other microphone, Pilato? Where's my other microphone, Pilato? Where'd you put it? Wow, you turn deer antlers on your lathe? You can do that? But welcome, Gary. Hey, we all know if I got a lathe here and I did animal products, I'd be cornering the market. I'd be cornering the live stream market. My fear here is the edge of these is real sharp, right? And that if I don't take something, and I'm sure there's a tool like a tiny file I could put in there and soften those edges, that it'll pull on the thread. So you probably got to use a real tough thread or double it over. But that's the first one there with the small holes in it. Here's the larger holes. Let's see how this one comes out. Yeah, I bet, man. Anytime you use a lathe, you got to have a face shield, right? Let's finish this one with the large holes, and then I'll put that bit away. And then I have this bone to file down. I have work on hides I need to do too, but I try to mix it up, man. It's a lot of the same thing. You don't want to always see the same thing. So here's where I think maybe this one needs like an odd number of holes because, wow, hold on, don't do that. Because I don't know if I could fit 4 in here and still keep integrity on those. Make sure it has strength, like you know we talk about in woodwork, support wood. I'm gonna put that one aside, man. I don't like the way that looks. 3 holes would probably do it too. We're gonna go to the small bit. Wax linen thread probably is what I need on this. I don't know. I'm pretty integral there, Pilata. Pretty integral. I'm an integral part of this live stream team. That's what I am, of this YouTube Google team here. Yes, the it smells like burning flesh or bone. You know, I have quite a tolerance for pretty bad smells now that I've done some tanning for a little bit. Oh, Ben is looking at me like, give me a piece of hide. I'll give him a little piece so he's happy. Got a bunch of little pieces of hide over here he could probably chew on. Some little bits of deer leg, and let me cut some of this off for him. Some random meat. This is what I mean by I can't even smell this, but I bet it smells really bad to the average person. This is for the dog. I think this is from a deer hawk here. He's gonna love that. Gotta keep him occupied. There you go, Benjamin. I am an integral part of this YouTube, Google content creator family. So I do have integrity. Just like you are, Pilato, you're an integral part. I just want to make sure I'm like 5 to 6 millimeters away from the edge. Somebody on one of my videos use the whole animal. So I'm like, all right, let's do the best we can to use the whole animal. They definitely make money off of us, Pilato. There's no question. The outside, you know, where you see that kind of bone-like surface substance, that seems to be the strongest part. But even this middle part, these are pretty well cured. I think this is probably pretty solid. But I will, I mean, I'll wax it after I'm done. These ones are kind of close together. I might take off a section of that. First time doing this. I never made buttons out of anything. Probably be good if I knew how to sew on a button, right? Coming soon. Calvin sews on buttons. Do this one right here. And this one are right here. Beautiful. Making buttons with deer antlers. Pilato, email me your address, and I'll send you some little antler chunks that you can put into your woodwork. Do something, you know, not now, but whenever you get to it. I got a whole deer skull that I'm letting kind of like nature take its course on out front. Does anyone in here have a DC bench power supply, looking to get one and don't know what I don't know? DC bench power supply. I don't know why you need direct current in here. Are you doing tattooing? Somebody explain why we need that.
Porcupines like the elk antler, huh? Idaho, Cody. You know, down south we can't do. Did you eat that thing already? He's like, more. Down south we can't do deer sign like when we go scout, right? Because um, they get eaten. There's no snow covering them. Up there in Idaho, you guys got by the way, I think Pilato and you are both in Idaho. Uh Up there in oh, to reset power tool batteries. Interesting. Oh wait, there's other tool guys that come in here on occasion. So just hang out, Gary, and see if somebody else can what was I gonna say? Yeah, there's snow. So you guys get snow, it stays on the ground, right? And that protects the antlers. So when you go scouting in the spring, there's still antlers around. Um, but here, that doesn't happen. The snow doesn't stay like that, and the antlers go away. So you have to scout differently. You got to be smart. Bucks only go a little bit from their bedding site, so you have to like kind of know where to go. Be observant. You know what I mean? How would I put another two holes on a wide button like this? This is a very special button. Maybe I would put like three and four over here on the other side. Like this was where this side met here. I think came from here, right? So this actually was attached to that. See, I want to I'll put my other two holes down here. I think, right? Or can a button kind of have a side like that that's hanging out? I'll leave it with two holes for now. Don't spread the holes too much, Idaho, Cody says. All right, I'll keep them close. This is going to be a good button. This one's nice and flat. So going through the bandsaw, I was holding the whole entire antler at an angle, a little more dangerous than I'm used to doing with my bandsaw because I'm pretty careful, unlike some of these folks in here, Pilato, with how I operate my tools. I try to keep my fingers. Need my fingers, man. Dude, I'm so far behind on this feed right here. Hey, do consider becoming a member of the channel. Subscribe, but definitely consider becoming a member of the channel. We depend on that. So we need members. How you do that is you click that little $sign in the bottom corner. Click that little $sign in the bottom corner. Little thing, become a member, blah blah blah. It'll guide you through. And I'll pick on you all the time, like I do with all my other members. Bother you and tell you about stuff I think is of interest to you. And actively not try to sell you anything. That's what I do. Ben, that was a big piece, dude. You still got a piece of it coming out your mouth. All right, man. That's the thing about taking apart animal carcasses is like, there you go. It's like leaves the dogs like it a lot. Let me check this with a little. That's about right. I eyeballed that one too. Maybe a little closer in. Long as they're like attached well, they're threaded well, and the thread doesn't want to break off on those. All right, so what I'm thinking is the problem is like imagine you're climbing up a cliff. That was my knife that just went off the edge blade first. you're climbing up a cliff and you have a rope, and the rope is hanging against a jagged cliff. That jagged cliff is going to tear at your rope. That's what I think might happen with these antler buttons if they're not softened somehow on the top. So I think maybe waxing them is really important. It probably keeps those edges from pulling on your on your thread. And then one more right here. Perfectly equidistant. Perfectly equidistant. That's what we're talking about, man. See how the antler pieces stay almost intact? This already had gall wasps in it anyways. This sassafras wood here that I got many years ago had it as was legs on a table for a long time. I'm going to soften up this edge and do this little piece right here before I just wanted to do a few of those on the live today. You got to keep it interesting around here. Or I could just talk about what I might do. Some folks like to do that a lot. Or just do the same thing over and over again. I've done that before. Doesn't that get boring sometimes? You know what I mean? What are you doing down there, dude? I'm excited. I think Ron's hatchet is coming today. I'm expecting a hatchet from Ron and some other thing he hasn't told me about. Pieces of antler on my hide here. Don't like that. Strong oak smell coming out of those tanned hides, which you will see in a minute. I just wanted to make sure this edge was soft enough when I'm going to put a couple of holes through this piece. I want this like as a top button. It's pretty sweet. So we'll put a hole like right here. We'll put one like right here. Where them drill bits at? Where they at? Where they at? Right here. Right here. Okay. See how safely I did that? Secured my workpiece and all that. Gary Douglas said, we don't get any snow in my part of Texas. You are not the only Texas viewer that we have here. We got a lot of folks from Texas on here. Daniel, shout out Daniel, who was in the chat a little bit ago, probably busy. He's at work right now, probably. Daniel's from Texas. Ruiz is from Texas. Mike is from Texas. Got a lot of Texas folk in here. And then some Oklahoma. Norm is from Oklahoma. These are all members on my channel. Norm is from Oklahoma. We got a bunch of Oklahoma people too. Right now we're making antler buttons. This one, I'm going to keep the two buttons probably right here, like the two other holes. Let me take my little thing is right here. Yes, not a great smell. You're right there, buddy. Not a great smell. It is. I'm not, like I was talking to Heather about this yesterday. We are both tough when it comes to smells, man. Smells, just, this smell is only a minor version of like when you take an eviscerated carcass and like work it. A carcass where the animal has had internal organ damage and internal bleeding. Like, it's a terrible smell. But if you're going to tan stuff, you kind of have to be able to deal with those type of smells. I like doing fun stuff, says. Hello. Hello, I like doing fun stuff. I like doing fun stuff too. Like, boring stuff sucks, right? Those holes are not equidistant at all, but it's all right. Because we're going to make everything we do here look amazing. Definitely not perpendicular to the hole here either. You know, a Dremel, there's probably a tiny Dremel bit that would go through these holes and soften them up and round off the corners. Yep, antler, bone, all of it smells bad when you put it through a saw, when you work it, when you tool it in general. It smells bad. But I can tell you guys, and I know Oak Ridge Taxidermy can vouch for me here if he's still in the house, there's a lot worse smells. Definitely make sure you do this, you sand off those edges because they will cut you. Bone, antler also very, very sharp. And I'm not joking. I know I make a lot of jokes, but I'm very serious about that. I don't want anybody getting hurt. Use the whole animal, right? That's what they say. I bet if I took like some 2000 paper on this, you could get these things shiny like agates. Y'all know what agates are? I'm sure you do. You guys are out west. Keep brushing this off and it's touching my leather hide over there. I don't want. Make sure you double tap that screen like this video. These are antler slices, like cross sections of antlers that we're turning into buttons. Each one of them has some randomly placed holes on it. I don't think that matters that much though. Whatever you make, I guess if you sit here and you take, what you do is you take a stamp probably. I should probably do this. Make like a stamp where there's 4 sections and then you just stamp that on each piece and get those holes in exactly the same spot every time. Definitely has that handmade look to it though, you know, with that kind of human error touch to it. I'm gonna up my game with the sandpaper here. Here, let's try this. Let me see what this looks like. This got beeswax in it. Beeswax and yeah, like a stencil stamp. Yeah, that's it. See, even Miss Heather likes this stuff. She's crafty. Let's see what it looks like if I take some of this beeswax here and just kind of put it on the top. See, we're experimenting. I like doing fun stuff. Let's take some of this beeswax stuff here. And then I've got some very fine sandpaper. I'm gonna see what it looks like if I ooh, that looks good. Let me get, this is 800 grit. You can maybe compare here. It definitely brings the color out as if you're staining it, you know. Because let me show you the two next to each other. I'm going to apply another little bit of this stuff. Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. All right, and then I'm going to pass it with this 800 grit here. Kind of get it into those pores. Then rub it on my shirt, right? Rub it on some buckskin. Push this bit through so that the holes are visible again. All right, we'll show you the difference here between polished. Whoa, there goes screw gun. Things that happen on a live. Be like, all right, let me show you. All right, so top is not polished, bottom is polished. It actually doesn't look like there's tremendous difference on here. So you kind of turn it. In person, it looks different. But this one here is the one I was polishing with the wax, you know, beeswax mixture. I thought it brought out color here, but if we look at this one here, you know, it's similar. It's just maybe a little lighter. Got to be a power tool for that. I hope I didn't break that drill. Tough. They're tough, man. Definitely a drill press for this application. Super, super nice if you get a drill press. I don't have a drill press here. Great tool because it gives you that perpendicular angle that you really want in this application. Cat lady, welcome. We got some cats here. They're waiting till I come back in to terrorize me. Right now, cat lady, you probably know what we're doing is we're actually making buttons out of these antler cross sections. I've never done this before. This is new for me. But I had some antlers and I need some buttons for projects that are upcoming, you know. So what I'm doing is right now I'm taking this beeswax coconut oil mixture, going over these buttons. Yeah, that's what I need. My Dremel died. Dremel battery died. I need a new Dremel. Like my battery, like the shelf life ran out. I had that Dremel for probably 10 years. I tried to charge it and use it recently without success. Now, using an 800 grit paper is okay for the polishing. It's not going to soften up those edges and keep it from being sharp. You might end up actually sharpening the antler and making it a little more dangerous on the edge. So remember that you need the cruder grit sandpaper to soften the edges, and then use the fine stuff to polish it, you know, give it a kind of a shine. But don't depend on the fine sandpaper to dull those sharp edges, because it won't. It'll probably sharpen them. So go around with the rough paper first. Do like a crude sanding around the outside to make sure those edges are rounded off, because they'll cut you, as I said before. And I don't want anyone getting cut. Also wear mask and gloves when you handle, you know, some tougher gloves, maybe like butcher gloves. These gloves aren't going to protect you from those edges. Thank you. Yeah, I know the hole patterns are not great, but yes, that is, we're making buttons here. These are white-tailed deer antlers that I've put through the bandsaw and cut cross sections from. And then I'm using this 800 sandpaper to like polish them and get that stuff kind of into it. You can see it actually does shine up the side nice, right? Shout out to Pilato for always advertising Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight, man, Pilato needs to be sponsored by you. Hold on, man. This bit might have got bent when it fell off the bench. All right, so we got holes in most of these here. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, because this one I put all 4 holes on the one side. I think that's probably where they got to be. I don't want to spread them out too much. My concern is mainly when I thread these, will the edge on the top of the hole like rip the thread, right? That's where my concern lies. Because with buttons, they're nice and smooth and rounded off, and antlers have very sharp edges. So either I got to use like rawhide, or I got to make sure that those, like a Dremel, I've got a Dremel that or something to get in there and soften and round off those edges. Yeah, you should definitely, Pilato, you should talk about how good that Japanese style pull saw that you got from Harbor Freight is. That thing, crushing it. That's what I think about Harbor Freight. I think I bent the bit, man. Yeah, it's bent, dude. That stinks. All right, I have an idea. And it's not been this bad. I got even smaller bits than that. This one seems to be the right size. I kind of feel like maybe a happy medium on how big the hole is. This is what I believe. Because I think if it's wide enough, you can kind of work it like with a tiny file by hand. This is a little bit bigger than that last bit. Me, this is somewhat experimental. I'm going to put it in that real calcified layer, right? That kind of like internal bone stuff, I'm not going to trust that. I'm going to put it in this side, I think. Like I did it the other way on the other one. So we're gonna do it this way. I'm kind of eyeballing about 5 millimeters apart. Brunelleschi couldn't have made a better square than that. Thanks everybody for being here. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. What we're doing right now is making buttons out of antler slices. Something that all of you have done so many times. It's boring. Where is it? I did get a 6-inch pull saw from Harbor Freight, but I'm not sure I've actually used that one yet. I previously acquired another one, larger pull saw from Amazon. It's been mostly fine. Well, okay. Yeah, no, the ones from Amazon aren't bad. I've had a couple of them from there. The one I've got here is the best one I got from there, and I've had that one for like 8 or 9 years. It's definitely feeling the one I got from Harbor Freight was worse than that one the day I got it. Like it was duller than that saw the day I got it. You don't sharpen Japanese pull saws too. They're replaced. The blade is replaced. It's not sharpened. This is beeswax and coconut oil. A couple other oils, oregano oil. I got mint peppermint oil. It smells really good. Definitely kind of mitigates that bad bone smell that you get when you tool these pieces. Then I'm putting this 800 grit paper against them to try to polish it a bit. I have some 1500 and 2000 probably that would even shine it more. There's no end to the experimentation that I will do with stuff. Oh, that's not good. Do I need to put a cat lady says I'm holding my drill at a slight angle. I need to make sure I'm perpendicular. Let's see. Needs to be perpendicular. Where's my this is why a drill press is good, right? We'll make sure we check it. Cat lady, thank you for letting me know that. Pilato said, get out the square. Got another one of these things somewhere here. There we go. I got a pretty good musical ear. I can tell what coin drops on the floor from across the room. I've heard that that's a pretty good thing. When I hear ding, 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 I kind of know what it is when it falls. Yep. Now you want to be as perpendicular as possible. Also, these slices are not cut perfectly flat, so that's probably another part of that optical illusion. When I actually hold my drill perfectly at a 90-degree angle every single time, every single time. Oh, y'all hear those? Those are Arctic swans migrating. You hear that? Hello, cluck birds in the background. Those are Arctic swans. Pelado, thank you, man. Super chats. I can. Thank you so much, Pelado. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you, man. Longtime member and supporter, Pelado, with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, man. I don't know yet. Cat Lady said, what am I going to put it on? I don't know. I'm going to have at least one that's going to go on an apron pocket that I'm going to make. I have leather that I'm making. If you stick around, you can see some of that too. But I'm going to leave these ones till later. I've got a whole bunch made here. I just wanted to experiment with that a little bit today. Got other stuff. Oh, I got a bone here that I need to process. So let's do a couple pieces like that and see if there's any little noticeable difference. I got a bunch of antler buttons now. So let's move the camera over a bit. I've got a piece of bone in the vise that I need to work. Shout out again to Pilato for that. Check out Pilato's live stream coming to you at 2:30 a.m. When you are asleep. No, Pilato has tons of videos besides his live stream. He has lots of content. If you are interested in crafting stuff, you just want to relax and watch somebody do woodwork who's calm and really nice. It's a good vibe there, man. I really like Pilato's vibe. It's all about your vibe when you're in a live stream room. All of this bone dust, you want to keep this and use it for plants. This is a cannon bone right here. Cool thing about this is I'm actually going to keep some of this edge here that's on the inside where the marrow was, because if I put holes on the inside of here, this edge might protect those holes from blowing out, like if there's any stress on the thread or something. So I'm actually going to I'm going to keep some of that edge. What I want to do is just flatten it out a little bit, you know. Trying to figure out what file is best for this. Probably is the one that's best. As bones cure, they kind of turn a little bit. Pilato says, I do what I can and nothing more. And that's all I can expect you to do, man. That's all I can expect you to do. Check out Pilato's channel. Awesome stuff. I haven't decided what I'm going to use those buttons on yet, but I know I'm going to use at least one on a on the apron that I'm going to make. I used this as my first scraping tool. This is the cannon bone from this deer right here, actually. This deer right here, this was its cannon bone, and I've used that as a scraping tool a number of times. So if you all have been watching the channel, you'll have seen me do that. Let me take it through the bandsaw. It's nice and flat now, smooth. I'll sand it a little. Bone responds real well to the file and the sandpaper. Let's start with that. Ooh, cramp in my foot. I've been getting weird cramps. Oh, and I got a cramp in my hip last night. One of those ones that scares you out of bed, right? Move the camera back to the work spot. All right. 2 pieces of cannon bone here, pretty clean. It was green a while ago. This one's a little uneven. Ricker, welcome. Ricker, a member. Welcome, member Ricker from down there in Tennessee. Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. Shot him a bar when he was only 3. Y'all know that song? Every time I sing, the numbers go down by like 20%. Y'all don't come for my singing? There you go, Ricker. That's it. Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. Now I do believe Davy Crockett kinfolk is from the what's that island called? Tangier Island in the Chesapeake Bay? Smith Island? Smith Island. They're all Crockett's over there. They're all related. So like most Crockett's can trace their ancestry out there. If you go to that island, there's only like 2 or 3 surnames. I recommend it. King of the Wild Frontier. No, I knew. I didn't even read that wrong. Like I didn't even read it how it was. I assume you got that right. Yeah, Crockett. And there's only a couple other surnames out there on Smith Island in the Chesapeake Bay. Really old. They speak a brogue there too. I don't know if y'all know what brogue is. They speak an old English dialect that goes back to the 1600s when Smith Island was first settled by, John Smith and them. I think that's why it's called Smith. I don't know if it's named after him. Could be one of the other Smiths. Oh, is that right? 6 miles. So yeah, so he's born there. He wasn't born out, but his people, I think, are from Smith Island. I think that his ancestry came from that Eastern Virginia. But I gotta double check that. Cat Lady said, "Have you ever made buttons from the outside of the antler? They look different. The outside of the antler." Well, I did that one. This is the first time I've ever made antler buttons, so the answer would be no. First time I made buttons, period. Full stop. But No, I have not. They have the antler look just on the top and the edges and are smoother. Also, marrow is on the bottom. Well, in a bone, right? These, this is where the marrow would be on here, right? So this is actually a cannon bone. So we got marrow that was in here, right? But I used that marrow. I actually gave it to the dogs or made stew with it or something. Marrow is really nutritious. The cat lady is very critical. You're very critical, cat lady, but I'm glad to have you. I'm happy to have overcritical people too. My hands are sore from tanning every day, so we'll keep sanding those. But I am going to attempt to make some drill holes here. I'm going to probably start. I'm just going to do one in each because I would actually like to measure these out and them even on these. This is the nicer of the two. Probably needs to be filed down on this side a bit. I don't want to rush anything here. Matter of fact, I might even wait. I want this side kind of even with the other side. See this stuff? The bone dust right there? Good fertilizer. Don't throw it away. You know who I'm missing today? Ava. Ava's not here, man. Where's Ava at? Ava absent. Absent. All right. Quick water break, and we're right back to Dad's workshop again. Greatest state in the land of the free. Oh, that's yeah. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting the Beverly Hillbillies and that theme confused. They are not anything like each other, are they? Not really. Oh yeah, put the buttons aside for a minute. I'm not gonna do those right now. I want to make sure that they're even. You're okay, cat lady. Oh no, it's all right, cat lady. I just my hands are sore from sanding. I'll do that stuff. That's real for my fat man hands. That stuff is real delicate, and I've been doing a lot of this squeezing of stuff and wringing out hides. So my hands, I got like carpal tunnel right now. It's going bananas. So I'm trying to just like pace myself with that. When I sew, it's going to be a little painful. I'm going to tell you. I do not know how to sew. I'm going to learn soon so that I can make my own stuff out of leather. And this is buckskin right here. This is going to be, this is right now it's in veg tan, but it's going to get pulled from the veg tan soon, brained, and then smoked. Nah, cat lady, you're all right. People like to talk, and that's, I understand. There's a lot of people with experience in these things. I'm all right with that. I don't know how to make buttons. I never made a button in my life. That's why it's nice to have you here with me for it. Soldier Farms, member Soldier Farms. Welcome. Put this towel up against this thing so because this hide was the one that really irritated me. has such a strong oaken smell right now. Like I said, that oaken, that I think that it's about done, man. I'm like pretty sure that this is like, you can see where I scraped it. Look how it came out red and not white. If you're not seeing white there, it's the tannins are in there pretty deep. Almost time to get students. Yeah, man. I used to be a teacher. I remember back in the day. Are you a teacher, Soldier Farm? Oh no, yes, right. You're in the classroom. You said something about this the other day. Yeah, I was a teacher for 17 years. But I'm all right. I don't need to live off that. Don't live in the past. I was good at what I did, but it's not enough. It's not enough to be good at what you do. You got to really love it. You got to love the environment. You got to feel like it's not slowly killing you. Though life is slowly killing you, so like you got to feel like there's joy and there's a future in it, you know. Just wringing the water out of this hide is going to help bring in those tannins it needs to finish. If indeed it's not finished, which I always am going to put it in longer. Yeah, there we go. Schmutz right there. That's why this wet scraping process is kind of key. Make sure you get all that schmutz out of there. All of that. This is going to be a combination tan that is a mixture of brain tan and veg tan. So I'm going to, after I finish kind of imparting color on this using the veg tan, which I'm using oak bark for, very, very strong decoction of oak bark that I make. Once I've done that, once I've imparted that color, I'm going to soak this in fat liquor made with animal brain, egg yolk, and light oil, like an olive oil. And then we'll smoke it lightly over the fire, and we'll work it while it dries, rehydrate it, work it, rehydrate it, work it, just like you saw me do with the other ones. Well, you should have seen it if you've been here. You've seen it. So the farm says, I'm at it as a teacher. They don't have the classes where I'd excel, and I'm not the guy to sell them on the necessity of practical education. Like that. Well said. Well said. I taught in a really, really low income school with multiple, socioeconomic issues, widespread behavioral issues related to the trauma and stuff that the kids have gone through. And I found the only way I could, as I was a music teacher, the only way I could get kids to sing and do music is if I could sell them on who I was and like develop trust. And the way I did that was, I'm a sports guy. Hey Kevin, man, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the super chat. That's how we live here. Yeah, I just left my own live stream. Trying to like it. There we go. Appreciate you, Kevin. What I tried to do was reinforce the kids, and it was my whole career. I tried to figure out what reinforces them the most, and what I determined it was free time, social time with their friends. You could get kids candy and you could even give them money, but the most reinforcing thing to kids is time to play sports and show off and socialize. So what I would do is bring kids outside. They did well on a particular lesson I had, and we were getting ready for something like a concert, and they sang well. I would give them 30. I would take them outside and play football with them for 30 minutes. The girls, if they wanted to play football, would do that. But if they didn't, they could socialize. And only rule was no phones. You have to actually socialize. And kids love that, man. They really bought into that, but administration never did. They didn't understand that it wasn't just me being lazy. It was a strategy, and it worked. And it made the other teachers jealous too. So the other teachers were like, well, I've got a million hours of content I have to teach. So he's not doing, this isn't fair. So I want to make it harder for him to do it. But it doesn't benefit anyone to do that. It benefits them if they let me take those kids outside and get them some exercise before they come to their class. But they didn't think that deep. That's not the way that they think. I found myself always dealing with this simple-minded pettiness all the time. And I'm always thinking chess, not checkers. I'm thinking long-term, not short-term. And they had a problem. They can't understand that. Everything to them is like, how do we get this? Especially in a school system that's quote unquote failing, right? They're failing the tests. They're not accredited. They are so desperate to try to figure things out that everything that goes against keeping kids' asses in seats for the whole period and pushing information on them, they can't think of anything. They're just so, it's like, it feels a bit like you've got someone, and I hate to make this reference, but it's like someone is sitting in a casino and they've lost all their money. They've lost, $2,000, and they're sitting at the machine and they're like, oh no, but I got to keep playing the machine to get my $2,000 back. That's how I'm going to get it back. I'm going to keep playing the machine. I'm going to keep playing this machine and that's the way they are. They think if they just push more, if the kid didn't learn it in 88 minutes and he's that far behind, do you think he's going to learn it? You put him in that seat for another 2 hours? You got to change your approach. Your approach is the problem. Those kids don't want to learn anything from you unless they trust you. And trust can be at a premium. Yep. They got the wrong metrics, and they use data and statistics in the wrong way to support their arguments. Like they'll throw a statistic like they'll say 70% of students who are retained do not graduate high school. And they'll say, and so then they know if they're smart at all, if they got their EDD from a decent institution, they know that that doesn't prove any sort of causation whatsoever. All that says is 70% of students who are retained don't graduate. It's more like in spite of them retaining them and not because of them retaining the kid. You cannot prove a cause based on a statistic like that. And so what do? They don't retain anyone, push everyone through. Kevin says, my wife has been teaching for the past 27 years, and she will be the first to say teaching kids today is a whole new game. And she likes her old school ways. In some ways, those old school ways are the only way you can finish your career out. She's probably just trying to coast this way, to the end. She just needs to stay firm with that stuff, and just stick to it, man. Coast the rest of the way out and don't get into it with those kids. Administration is going to come and go. They're free agents. They like to they're money driven usually. The principals, the vice principals, everybody respects them more than everybody in the building, but they're the ones that are there for money. It's money for them. It's about who gives them the best contract. They may say it's for the kids, but they didn't go into administration to deal with kids. They were in the classroom probably. They went to administration because they don't want to deal with kids. They'd rather deal with families, which is honestly harder, to be honest. All right, so and I've scraped that pretty good. Now this side, you can see, this is the grain side here, some discoloration. I've been working at this, but my problem is it doesn't seem to be making a big difference. This was where I scraped the grain off, and actually, I think it's just you have to just work the mess out of this too for a long time. I don't want to take this out of the tannins until I feel like this part is solid, but that's not grain, that's just tissue. So it's just gonna have to sit in there and tan longer. Tell it's real dark. I'm not going to scrape this side a lot. Only if I see grain visible, like right here, there's a little bit. I can't, this is a huge hide. I don't know what size it's going to shrink to, but it's hard to believe, hard to think of it as a small because it's just, this was the owner of those antlers, this deer. I mentioned that yesterday. I think what I really need to do is make its own tannin bath for this hide here, and just really, really super strong. Potentially even dye it with the oak galls, because this side is so discolored, but the flesh side is like perfect chestnut brown. That's exactly what I'm looking for, you know. And it may even out a little bit as it dries, but I'm not going to depend on that. I'm going to assume that it's going to look bad when it dries. So I'm going to keep working it with the hope of, you see there's some grain here left, with the hope of correcting that problem, you know, this discoloration on the bottom side. But it got dried out a bit today. That's key. We'll put this one aside for a little bit. I'm gonna let it sit on the bench too, so that it actually dries more. Pilato, soldiers got to roll out. Yeah, we got to go. But man, we need a pot of coffee and finish this conversation. No doubt about it, man, for sure. Come back and we'll talk more about that stuff. We'll talk about any of that. You know, my heart is in, obviously, I have school age children myself, so I totally understand. This conversation is important. It's an important one. Here's another piece of buckskin. This one's a little more thoroughly tanned on both sides. Grain side, right? And then flesh side. You see how nice and dark red that is? This is going to be a nice piece of buckskin, dude. That other one I had to overhaul, basically. So I don't know if I need any. It doesn't look like. Maybe I'll just wring this one out. I think it's pretty well scraped. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that, man. I'm just going to wring this guy out, set it aside, and go from there. Yeah, this is, so you can see the grain has been removed from this. This is the grain side, I believe. Let me make sure I can't even tell. That's how good I removed the grain. But this is going to be a combination tan, uh, veg tan and brain tan buckskin here. So it should be soft, kind of soft, but a little bit of structural stability to it when I finish. This one looks like my best piece in the group. I'm not going to lie. Looks definitely like my my best piece. Let me do a little wring out of this real quick. I don't worry about wringing these out firmly, because if the grain is open on both sides, like if it has no grain on it, I'm not going to do damage to it by really squeezing it pretty firmly. And then it can take in those more tannins, right? Which is what we want. Look at that. You can see right where it was getting squeezed, it did that. So we'll roll it up, put it aside. It's tanning nicely. Yeah, that one has real nice color, dark, deep red to it. It's going to come out nice. You can kind of see the difference. Now this is dried, but I was Googling this today because this one, this hide right here, I tan with pecan mostly. There's a little bit of oak acorns that I use, but you can see how it's got that, what do they call this color? It's like butternut. It's a chestnut color, but I did it with pecans, and so there's a different color. Now I added a little bit at the end. I tanned it in some oak for a little while, but you see the difference in color between that and that last hide. Quite a big difference. I sanded off this beam so that I wouldn't scrape. mess up any more grain. But here's one with the grain on, right? Smells so good. That's like, it smells like a leather store. Now you see the grain is damaged in numerous spots here, right? A lot of damage to the grain here and here, probably because of my beam. I'm going to be careful, but I got to look and see if there's any spots I need to scrape on this back. Like maybe a couple of these little spots. Yeah, this is almost tan. See, when you see that color right there, like that's, if I'm getting that color when I'm scraping it or squeezing it out, it's got a lot of tannin in it. Yeah, this thing is pretty good. And if you're tanning stuff and you've got a tank and there's like some mold growing in there, because there's like some funny looking stuff here, it's not usually a danger. You know, not all mold. They have you thinking in this modern world that every bit of mold is going to kill you, but it's not. Some of it is kind of important, actually. Yeah, so this one here is actually leather, not buckskin, bark tan leather. This is the grain side right here, right? This is oak tan. This is the flesh side. Deer hide here, right? Went through all of those pre-processes. And you Google it, man. This type of leather is expensive, especially when it's made by a home tanner. Like it's just not available like that. You can get it. It's just expensive. You're gonna pay a high premium for it. Yeah, and I like that. I like being able to make a product that's desirable. You know, that's it's a nice thing. I am working on a video on my experiences right now. Do please subscribe to the channel. I'm Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Welcome Ricker and Pilato. Soldier Farms was in here. Miss Heather B. We had Daniel Gandar in here earlier. Shout out to all of those folks and all the friends of the program. Shout out to Carrie out there. Carrie, friend of the program and supporter. Shout out to Soldier and Pilato for their super chats today. Appreciate you. Big thanks for that. If you do want to become a member like Soldier or Pilato, there's that little $sign down in the corner. Don't hesitate. We're not here to scam people. We try to produce content here that's valuable for whatever it may be. Maybe it helps you relax. Maybe you want to think about doing this in the future. Maybe you're trying to start a channel and you want to network with people that are doing crafts and creating things. Doesn't matter really. Just know that making an investment like joining someone's YouTube channel because you're interested is not getting scammed and not getting and not something that you should regret, you know. And if it's not me, pick your favorite channel and become a member there. You support those people that make the content that you like. A lot of great channels out there. Very repetitive, but it's okay. I think there's some studies that show that stress and trauma can be treated by repetitive physical motion. Or it can't be cured, right? But it can be treated. And that's key. Pilato creation, yes, like a favorite channel like Pilato's channel. You would be doing a great thing by becoming a member of Pilato's channel. That would be a huge thing for you to do. And Pilato has content that he makes all the time. He thinks very hard about content and puts a lot of thought, care, and love into his videos and his live streams. Just they're like 3 a.m, you know. But that doesn't mean that's all he does. Check out his videos because he has long forms and shorts and all of that stuff, you know. I don't worry too much about that hair on the edge, if you've noticed that. If I'm going to get rid of that, I'll do it when I round off the hide. I'm not going to scrape the mess out of it and damage the hide trying to get that stuff off. I do have to do my furs again soon too. I've left them a little bit at the waist by the wayside for this stuff. So I got some raccoon furs and a couple deer, full fur deer hides back here that I've been working periodically. Part of this process is scraping all that nasty stuff off of there, right? And then you end up with beautiful handmade leather that's made with oak tannins. I didn't do anything but go collect bark and collect deer, right? I didn't go buy any kind of chemical combination from a store or order any chemicals. Though I'm not against that if that's what you're going to do. You know, do that rather than waste stuff. But you can end up with great leather. All you got to do is just use nature. Nature has so many resources for you. So many resources. I didn't just tan one hide, two hides, three hides. I got bunches of hides that I tanned off oak bark. And I'm going to make a video and I'm going to show everybody my process. Here's another piece right here, much bigger hide. Same color combination. A lot of damage. I think this actually is personality, though. You see the damages to the grain there? Scratches in the grain. Probably because this was a buck, and so it just took a lot of scratches. But you see that beautiful color in there, very dark cherry red color. I'm very proud of it. You will hear me talking about it a lot. I'm going to talk about fine, authentic leather. That's what you get. That's what you get at Dad's Workshop. Should probably become members of both Dad's Workshop and Palato Creations. But if you could join one, become a member of Palato Creations. I must have read the comment she was looking for me to read. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Kevin, say something I missed. I don't think so. I think I caught all of that. Thanks for being here. I'm Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. We're working on a oak veg tanned deer hide here. I'm scraping it out on the flesh side here. I'm not going to scrape too hard because this hide is it's pretty tanned, man. It's been in the tannins for only a couple weeks, but it's been worked so much, like full time, that it's and I kept that tannin strong. That's key. Also, you want to keep that tannin bath really strong. If you do that and you work the hide properly, you could probably do a deer hide in a couple weeks. But veg tan leather takes at least 23 times longer than making the polluting chrome tan leather that's on the market. Standard commercial leather, right? Even commercially, veg tan leather takes something like 23 times the amount of time to make. Thanks for being here. I'm Calvin. Double tap that screen and like this video. This is a piece of deer hide that is being veg tanned in a bath in a bark liquor made out of oak, red oak bark. Some little spots on here I'm not too fond of. Yeah, little schmutz there. You want to get all of that stuff off so it's absorbing tannins evenly, going all the way through. That's how you get full preservation. Nature can do it, man. There's power in nature. You got to harness it. A little scraping every day, kind of spread it out over some time. You know. Palato and Kevin, excuse me. Palato and who did I say? Soldier gave the other super chat. Palato, Kevin. Sorry, Kevin. I'm not that. That was a fatal mistake for me to make. Palato and Kevin, appreciate you. Kevin, thanks for the super chat. It was Pilato and Kevin. My mistake. Thank you. I saw Heather come out. That usually means I made a big mistake. It's my ADHD. Just blame it on that. Heather's looking out for y'all, man. She's always got y'all's back. Sorry about that. I feel stupid for that, man. I try to get that stuff right. Now, you do have the danger of sliding when you do this and slicing the hide. So you want to make sure you use 2 hands and firm pressure, especially when you're doing your initial scraping, you know? Go all the way to that edge, push all of that stuff out. And then when you scrape it out, wring it out, and make sure that it's you're like constantly removing the fluid from it, rehydrating it with strong bark liquor, right? Then you end up pretty quickly. You can tan a skin and get it almost prepared for use. It does take a, and then the drying process is like just as long. I'm still drying this hide that I finished in the beginning of December, right? It's still a, I get it wet and I dry it and I add, you know, moisturizers, oils. I brain it again, over and over again. I do these same things. It's very much a tinkery kind of a process. So thank you everybody for being here. Again, my name is Calvin. Sorry about that, Kevin. Yeah, I do appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, man. I'm sorry. Should have gotten that right. I'm glad that I caught that in the chat too. Thank you for being here. Do subscribe to the channel. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Let me tell you what we did today. First, I showed you I got a squirrel that I finished, bark tanned, and a raccoon here. I was really proud of those. Did those yesterday. Finished those yesterday. And then we made antler buttons today. These antler buttons, which I'm kind of happy about too. They came out not too bad. And we'll use some antler buttons on some of the garments that we make out of this leather. And then we scraped hides, and we've got a lot of hides here to finish. And this is just 2. These are the 2 leather pieces where I left the grain on, 2 deer hides. I got hocks in here too. I forgot about deer hocks, which are the legs. And those are pretty nice too. This one's got a little tear in the grain there, but that's all right. We'll figure that out. Color's real nice. Color's real nice there. These are probably done. And I should be getting some from Ron today that I'm psyched about. So appreciate everybody. Shout out to Ron. And Kevin says he appreciates my channel. We appreciate you, man. Yeah. Yeah. No, we appreciate you, man. Shout out right back at you. And these 2 hawks. And definitely, I'm going to start an Instagram soon, but I'm going to roll it out. Like, I want to aggressively roll it out. I have no Instagram at the moment. Whatever one I had before is gone. I'm going to get a new one. It's going to be a Dad's Workshop one. And it's going to be aggressive. And I'm going to do giveaways to try to promote that Instagram. So stick around, hang out. We're making things out of natural materials and loving it. I'm loving it, man. I go to sleep excited to get up the next day and do more. I got this cork thing. I'm going to make a cork board here so that I can stretch out hides on that. Lots of stuff to do in here. Lots of stuff to do. You take this buckskin. This is the buckskin hides that I did where the grain was removed from the. This is a huge one. This hide is, it used to weigh like 35 pounds, but now it's starting to tan a little bit. So it's losing some of that weight, probably about 20 pounds. Love y'all. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Do support the channel. Stay tuned also. And double tap that screen and like this video. And stick around because all we're doing is more stuff all the time. Check out some of my other videos too. Bending wood and you know, some of the various kind of silly videos I made, but we take all of this crafting very seriously. Pilato said, thank you for the live. We thank you for coming, Pilato. Thank you for being here. And love y'all. Do the next right thing. We'll see you tomorrow. This is Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. Take care now.